In yesterday's lesson, we learned how fractions and division are exactly the same thing. When we look at a fraction bar, when we look at the division sign, we see a fraction bar with a numerator and a denominator. Division and fractions are the same thing. Numerator divided by denominator. That's what a fraction is. And so 1/2 is the same as 1 divided by 2. 1 divided by 2. One cookie divided two ways, each person gets 1/2. 1 divided by 2. And when you use a calculator, you can divide 1/2 and you end up getting a decimal. Fractions and decimals are also the same thing. 1 divided by 2 equals 0 and 5/10, which we knew that's the same as 1/2, didn't we? On our number line when we studied decimals, we knew that 5/10 was the same as 1/2. 1/4 is the same as 1 divided by 4. One cookie divided amongst 4 friends, everyone gets 1/4 of the cookie. If you think of $1 and you divide it 4 ways, everyone gets a quarter, right? $1 divided 4 ways, everyone gets 25 cents or 1/4. 25 hundredths is the decimal way of saying 1/4. They are equivalent. It is the same exact thing. When you divide numerator by denominator, it's the same as 1/4. 25 hundredths, my fault. When you divide 1 divided by 4, it's the same as 1/4, and 1 divided by 4 is 25 hundredths. 0 and 25 hundredths. We're going to keep going. I'm going to do a couple more examples here, and then you're going to try some of these on your own on Canvas. So here we see the Dragons are a team. They won 29 games. They lost 11. This is their record as a decimal. When you see winning percentages, if you're a sports fan, you might see a 1-loss record and then a decimal next to it. How do you think this decimal, 725 thousandths, was computed? How did they come up with this number? They won 29, they lost 11. So how many games did the Dragons play? Well, they won 29, they lost 11, so altogether they played 29 plus 11, that's 40 games. And they won 29 of them. They won 29 out of 40. Let me start over. So 29 divided by 40 equals 725 thousandths. The Vikings, Caden's team, won 26 and lost 13. So altogether they played 26 plus 13 is 39. But they won 26 out of 39. They won 26 out of 39, or 26 39ths. 26 divided by 39 gives you the winning percentage of 0 and 6666 repeated, which is the same as 67 hundredths, or 67%, which is basically winning 2/3 of their games. Let's skip down to the Eagles. They won 19, they lost 19. They have a 500. You might have heard of their record. They've gone 500. 500 means they won half and they lost half, 50% of their games. 19 wins, 19 losses. That's really 19 out of 38, because 19 plus 19 is 38. And when you divide 19 divided by 38, because they played 38 games and they won 19, 5/10. They won half of their games. Fractions are division. Fractions is the same as a decimal. 19 out of 38 is the same as 1/2, which is the same as 5/10, which is the same as 50%. We're going to keep working on this type of stuff. Decimals, fractions, and percents. That is the world we live in. What you're going to be working on a little bit later, after this video lesson, is something just like this. The Bluebirds, for example. They won 20. They lost 5. So their fraction is 20 out of 25. Now you're welcome to use a calculator if you like, or you could even figure this out by simplifying the fraction if you wanted to. Now to make that into a decimal, all you'll need to do is open a new tab and type in calculator on Google, and then we'll say 20, that's the number of wins, divided by the total number of games, because a fraction is part of a whole. They won 20 out of 25. That's what the Bluebirds did. 8/10. They won 8/10 of their game. Out of every 10 games, they win 8. 0 and 8/10. You're going to do the same thing for all these teams, and then at the end, you're going to line up your decimals. You know what? I'll help you a little bit more, because you can do other ones too. Okay. Let's look at the Cardinals. They won 12. They lost 12. So that's 12 wins and 12 losses. How many games did they play altogether? Of course, 24. And you probably figured out that this is a team that won half of their games. And what is 1/2? That's 5/10, right, guys? 0 and 5/10, because they won half. The Orioles won 16 and lost 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. So they won 16 out of 25. This one we might want to use the calculator for. 16 divided by 25 is 64 hundredths. Well, so far, between these three, if we line up our decimals, our tenths are with our tenths, our hundredths are with our hundredths. Hold on. Our tenths are with our tenths. Our hundredths will be with our hundredths. We're going to make sure that there's a placeholder for each. And then the smallest number is 5/10 or 50 hundredths. So between these three, this is last place, this would be second place, and this would be first place. I'm sorry, second place and third place between these three, but we're going to still have to deal with the Penguins and the Robins. And so your job will be to figure out the record fraction, the record decimal, and then the rank of these teams. Okay? We will work on this more at 3 o'clock. Mr. Single probably won't be there today at 3 o'clock, so it's going to be a big group. We'll see how that works today. We might need to make some changes on Thursday if it's too many kids for one small group math session. Okay? I will see you at 3 o'clock, though. Do your best.